the cool thing is when you give a guy 20% of the Brentwood Sonic, and if the alarm goes off at 4 a.m., guess who's going up there? Not me. He's going up there. And I tell you, I call it beans and cornbread. We give them a basic salary. It's called just so they can not starve to death. And the rest is all their ownership. And how hard they work is how much money they'll make.
Well, so one of the fun things too that I've had, oh yes, go
I was
ahead.
just curious. So you mentioned you went through a lot of hard things. So what would you say always like recharged you? Was it really running Ironmans? Or what was your mechanism, especially, after that, just say a few years in and, you hit another obstacle? Like, what, did you ever hit a point where you really were like, okay, well, I'm lacking the energy that you had initially, and what brought you back to it?
I think I'm a lot like Greg. I would just pivot.
Yeah.
Be like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm keep moving. At one point, I think I owed $30 or $40 million to lenders. And I slept so good. I mean, the worst case scenario is I get an apartment over here behind Sonic and start over. I've just never worried about it. I guess it's in my DNA.
He's actually one of the most positive people I've ever met, and he also has a super high energy level. So I think your reserves are there, and I do think that your family grounds you.
It does indeed.
I think your wife has been your rock and your security blanket. Am I wrong?
You're correct.
So I think that you've had the reserve, you've had the good fundamentals, and then I do think that your belief system and he happens to belong to the same church that I do, and we're not talking about religion at all. But I will say that he was a full-time pastor, essentially over all of Nashville and the whole region as a volunteer, and didn't get paid a dime. So I think one of the ways that you can have your bucket filled, ironically, is serving someone else. Mm-hmm. And so when you are thinking about it's just me all the time, and it's all about money, you're going to get burned out really quick, right? And that with him talking about how even from his fundamentals of business, can't swim across the river without, sharing some of the gold. He is scouting, for example. Talk about scouting, what you've done in scouting.
Well,
You're a silver beaver.
Well, that and
Silver
that
beaver,
he's
yes.
just a big kid at heart. So
I am. I love to play.
I actually have. I'm going to confess that I've been jealous of him, and he's been a role model for me to be able to play. And in the last 3 or 4 years, I've been like, all right, I got to be more like David. What have I got to do to play and have that sense of play and wonder? And really and truly, that is a huge thing when you can look through the eyes of, and maybe it is genetic, maybe it is. Because you came through a lot of things that would have destroyed a lot of people. Yeah. So I do think God gave you who you are, right? But even so, you've taken that now, and then you've turned around and you've served others for a long time through scouting and through your involvement in your church and also in the community. So, I think if it's all me, it's all about that, I think that is very exhausting. And my mom, when I was growing up, she used to, if I get, cranky and tired and feeling sorry for myself, she would throw my shoes at me and say, go find somebody to serve. Because she knew that if I could get outside of myself, right? So and actually that's part of the reason why I really wanted him to be able to come and talk to you. Is we talk about the mindset of money, right? We talk about investment. And we talk about the mechanics of it, and we show you proof of concept. But part of the thing that I wanted to have you see for him is it's not just proof of concept of, he's a wealthy man, and he's lived a very successful life, but he is also extremely well-rounded in that he has blessed the lives of a lot of people. I'll give you an example. RV, to take in, how many young men did you take?
20.
So tell them about that story.
It was totally illegal. I mean, it was so dangerous. I picked up. picked up 20, 16-year-olds, 16 to 18-year-old boys and drove to Moab, Utah to raft the Green River.
And he paid for all of them.
And it was a 35-foot RV, 20 kids in it. It was so dangerous. And I remember in the middle of the night, when they were sleeping, one was sleeping on top of the stove because there was just no room in there. But it was a cool trip.
My boys, that's like epic. I mean, what teenage boy does not want to go white river rafting with a bunch of guys? And I mean, they talk about that still to this day. And we at the time could not afford to send them to do something like that. I mean, he made them earn enough money where it had they had to be invested.
It looked like it.
It felt like it. But we know as parents that he pretty much just paid for the entire thing, and that it was just enough for them to be invested. And so that is only one of the stories of his life where he has been that kind of a guy to give back to the community. So I hope that you can take that into the back of your minds and let it really percolate. Right? That it's not enough. It's not just about you. We want you to be able to build communities and change lives and to increase your standard of living so that you can increase your standard of giving. And I know of no better person than David Watson. But talk about.
I have a just question real quick. So there you talked about paying $30,000 for that land to build those Sonics. So then you also, kind of like going back to the Ray Kroc, I'm in the real estate business, right? Was that also kind of a corporate Sonic thing to also own the real estate as well as the restaurant?
That's why when y'all look at Chick-fil-A and you think, ooh, I'm like, whatever. That dude doesn't own the real estate.
Yeah.
He's just a manager. He's just a part owner of that business. Well, good for him. But yeah, Sonic had that. They had the real estate and then the part owners for the managers and supervisors was part of this.
So that way you always owned the real estate. That's one of the things I want to make sure that people understood, is because it's more than just owning that restaurant. You also owned all the real estate.
If I could brag, I'm going to brag. This is so awesome.
Yeah, brag.
My wife doesn't appreciate it, so y'all will appreciate this. The Nolensville Sonic near your house.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody know Nolensville? That Sonic? I paid $130,000 for that lot, and on March 31st sold it for $4 million. Oh my God! That's just the real estate, and then they paid me 7 times earnings on the business too, which was.
And I was feeling all like big because the Triune land.
We did good on that too.
But it wasn't $4 million. So I was thinking I was pretty awesome.
Jana found me a piece of land in Triune, and I paid $500 for it, and a year later flipped it for $1 million.
So I mean, I thought I was doing a good job, but I didn't.
Well,
I didn't
but
make
this
it
took
4 million.
20-something years. So.
Okay, well I did it in 18
That's
months. So time value of money, right, Greg?
Right.
Just,
Can I comment on the giving?
Sure.
Something that you should kind of do to get, because one thing that we do is we actually have giving goals on our business plan.
Wow.
I love that. That's a
So
great
it's like
idea.
everybody picks their dollar amount that they want to give for the year, and part of our business plan is just to make that happen somehow.
Yeah.
And then it makes you way more accountable.
So
Right.
talk. Go ahead.
Sorry, don't you do something too with the homeless? What's that?
Yeah, I do
What's that
stuff.
called?
I'll talk to you about that after.
Oh, I was just saying, Greg does a lot more too. I just wanted to.
Well, we know that, but.
He's more humble
Just
than I
wanted
am.
Well, actually, I think that it's kind of the theme of what it was. The reason why I wanted to have you come on is because of that, and more. I think you're catching. I don't want to keep kicking that, but it really it does matter, right? Because one of the main reasons why we do what we do and bringing speakers like this is for your ability to be able to learn and grow and be better, because we feel like all of us are going to be better together, right?
Can I share something
Sure.
that I think would fit perfect? Early in my career, my father-in-law, the surgeon, taught me a lesson that I've never forgotten, and I've tried to emulate what he taught me, is that balance wheel. And I think that might be what you're alluding to, is that balance wheel is so important, you guys. all you do is work, you are going to get burnt out. You have got to play. There's 4. I think of a hamburger, a big hamburger, cut into 4 slices. Or now I'm thinking cookies. But
And he brought me a cookie cutter that's, in 4, so
four
I'm
pieces.
gonna.
So one of my part of my balance wheel is my faith, my community. I was a member of the Exchange Club, the YMCA, just anything I can get involved in the community and my church. And then my family is extremely important. You have to have enough of your balance to spend with your family, or you'll lose them. And then why do everything you do if you're not trying to have your family with you? And then my education or my job is very important, that I spend time on that. But that 4th quadrant is the best. That's self. That's me. That's the Mastercraft. That's the Harley. That's the golf, the things that I love to do. And if you don't do stuff that you love to do, then you're not going to be happy to handle the rest of that balance wheel. And I think that's what Janet taught. I just love to give and serve and help other people, and I try to keep that in balance. And then work, the way I was able to do that was I start early in the morning. I start early. You can get so much done from 5 to 9 a.m. You can get 8 hours of work done in 4 hours if you start early, right?
For real.
So that's kind of key
So
to my
talk
success.
about your the entrepreneurship type of education that you've had. With your MBA, what in your MBA have you actually been able to apply?
I tell people that my MBA taught me how to think and make decisions. And then my fast food experience taught me how to make them quickly. So when I'm presented a deal, I can usually make the decision pretty quickly, and I can analyze it and figure it out. And then I have a team to get as well, like Greg, where I have partners that have their strengths and be able to put deals together. But I love entrepreneurship. I love it. I actually go and I've taught at Belmont and I've taught at BYU entrepreneurship class. And just college kids are coming up with the greatest ideas now and coming up with great plans and businesses. It's fun to be involved in that. I helped one guy start a business. It was a hot dog place called J-Dogs, big Chicago hot dogs.
I remember having J-Dog sauce.
That's it, special
Yeah.
sauce, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been fun to help people start businesses, and starting Crumble has been a fun venture for me too.
So you're a fan of franchises.
I am.
And you and I've talked again about that. So why? We part of, some of you may know this and some of you may not know this, but we own a business brokerage as well. We help people buy and sell businesses, and we do a lot of franchise resells, which is a whole different thing, but we're going to be starting to integrate a little bit more of those kinds of topics as investment opportunities for our learning series as well, just because we want you to be able to see, you have this whole cafeteria plan, you can invest in here and invest in here, and you're competing against all these different ways that you can spend your money, and we want to make sure that just investing in commercial real estate may not be for you. You may not be well suited for that, but why franchises? What's the big deal about that?
I could start my own cookie company because I can make a cookie. I can make chocolate chip cookies at the house, but I do not mind paying 7% of everything I sell to Crumble corporate because they have figured it out, obviously. They have several hundred stores and they have gone through the bad times and they figured it out. And same with Dave's Drive-In in Franklin, probably would not have been as successful as Sonic Drive-In. So I'm a firm believer in it's worth 6 or 7% of my sales to have that experience. And then Sonic also provided like field help, operational help, assessments. People would come in and audit me and help me, give me direction and help me find the opportunities to make more money. So I really appreciated the help that corporate brought, and not to mention marketing. Does anybody have the Crumble app? Anybody? You do? Oh my God. So it's addicting, right?
Yeah.
Because Sunday nights at 9 o'clock,
Changes every week.
4 or 5 new cookies every Sunday night, 9 o'clock, and people can't wait to see what it's going to be. It's a cult. It's a cult following, and you can't. I couldn't have
There's not
started.
enough Kona triathlons in the world for me to be able to eat that many cookies.
There is. I just can't say enough on how important it is to have a corporate franchise
To have
to
that.
help follow and have that experience.
What made you choose to partner with like Sonic again, as well as Crumble Cookie, opposed to like other corporations?
What made me choose?
Like choose to partner with them? Because like some of the stuff that you just mentioned doesn't sound really that unique to me compared to like a McDonald's also providing those same services.
Yeah.
So I guess why did you choose those particular?
I think Sonic because my dad was a Sonic manager when I was a kid, and then I grew up working at Sonic. Even when I went to college, I was an assistant manager my first year of college in Memphis with Sonic, so I knew it and I was good at it, and it was just a natural fit for me. I was an addict. Sonic is really good. The product's so good, and then the cook to order thing, I just loved everything about it. So that's why I chose Sonic. Crumble was brought to me by a nephew who wanted me to help him with Crumble. And I was just supposed to put up some money for his first store. But now I'm like all in. I was seriously at Crumble in Brentwood this morning at 6 a.m. I was there at 6 a.m. I just love it. It's fun. So that's why I chose those two.
I have been the beneficiary of his crumble cookie.
Yeah.
I have had many cookies.
Not lately, you haven't.
Not lately. Well, no,
That's
no.
right, you did good.
Yes, thank you. So what else?